Our next two lessons are dealing with volume of three-dimensional figures. So volume is kind of the amount of, let's just say, liquid you could pour into a three-dimensional figure. So say you had a cylinder. So it has a base, it has two bases, and it has height. If you filled it with something, that's the volume. Same thing with a prism. This would be a rectangular prism. It has bases and it has a height. Same thing with a triangular prism. It has two bases and height. So the way we calculate the volume of an object, of a figure, volume is always a capital V. V equals base times height, B times H. Now we have seen that before. Let's think, where did we see that? Oh yeah, that's an area of a rectangle or of a parallelogram or a square, things like that, base times height. But the difference is the B. Notice that this B is capital. That stands for the area of the base. And I'm going to put base with a capital B. So the base, we are going to calculate the area of this figure, and then the height is how tall it is. So for instance, if we had a cylinder, and we know that we have there's circles as bases, what would happen if we knew that the radius was 3 and if the height was 4? So we are first going to calculate the area of the base. And we know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So r, in this case, is 3. Pi times 3 squared. So now we have pi times 9. 3 squared is 9. And if we are going to use, a lot of times they say for pi, use 3.14. That's what we'll use for today. So 3.14 times 9, that's 28.26. Now, area is always in square units, but we're just going to leave the units off for now. Then, to get the volume, we are going to do base times the height. So here's our base. So volume equals base times height. The base is 28.26, and our height is 4. So I'm going to take that and multiply it by 4. We get 113.04. And then you have to look at your directions. What should we round that to? A lot of times in 8th grade, we look at this and we say, oops, 13.04 is to the nearest 10. So we would say that that's approximately equal to 113, and that would be 0.0. This would be units cubed. So it's a three-dimensional figure. We have cubic units. So how many cubes can fit into it? Now let's look at a rectangular prism, a lot like this one here. And say we have a 2 by 3 base and the height is 5. So first of all, you have to figure out the area of the base. So the base is base times height, so small b, so or length times width. So this is 2 times 3, which is 6 square units. Our volume is now capital BH. So our base is 6, our height is 5, and that is 30 cubic units. Now let's say we have a triangular prism. This is a right triangle, and our bases I should say, are kind of in the front and the back. It's not standing up on end like this, it's more like laying down like this. So say we have a 4 by 5, we have that kind of triangle. And then we have a length of 7. So first, what we're going to do is find what our base is. And we know that the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So here's a base and a height. So it's 1/2 times 4 times 5, and that equals 10. Then to find the volume, we have capital B times h. So we know that our base is 10. Our height means the distance between the two bases is 7. So that is now 70 cubic units. That is how you find the volume of a three-dimensional object, a cylinder and a prism.